Hi, and welcome to the Matrix Cycle Music Workshop. My name is Anthony Stewart, and I'm the Digital Fitness Director here at Johnson Digital Studios. I have a background in music production, DJing, fitness, and I have a master's degree in sport and exercise psychology. As a fitness professional, I imagine that you instinctively know that music is a fundamental driver of the group exercise experience. The good news is that your instinct is fully supported by both long-standing and more recent scientific research. In fact, we can call music a legal, performance-enhancing drug. It's not just about fun and enjoyment, although that's important. It's about performance and adherence too. So why is music so important? I was discussing this with Professor Kostas Karageorgis at Brunel University, and he is a big believer that the pursuit of hedonism is the thing that will inspire the vast majority of people to move more. Hedonism refers to the prioritization of pleasure in one's lifestyle, actions, or thoughts. Music is directly connected to hedonism due to its evolutionary links with social activity, celebration, and dissociative enjoyment of the moment, also known as flow state. The benefits of music and fitness. Ergogenic, increasing work capacity, delaying fatigue, improving endurance, power and strength. Psychophysiological, effects on heart rate, blood pressure and VO2 max. Psychological, mood enhancing, emotion affecting, better cognition, flow and enjoyment by boosting dopamine. It encourages social bonding, rapport, empathy and tolerance. Psychophysical, reducing rates of perceived exertion by blocking connectivity in the afferent nervous system. Even in medicine there are benefits too. Sound can reduce cortisol and is used in the treatment for Alzheimer's, dementia, anxiety, depression and stroke. It reduces pain both during and post-surgery by increasing dopamine and reducing activity in the amygdala, diverting attention away from negative feedback from the body. Sound can even increase the activity of immune cells, reducing brain inflammation and disrupts loss of myelin. In fact, babies grow quicker when they are exposed to music. Music fundamentals. I want to talk to you from the perspective of a DJ. For the last 25 years, I've been a DJ in the EDM scene, specializing in hardcore trance and club classics. I made a lot of mistakes in my sets during the early part of my career. And over the years, I learnt lots from the big DJs I played alongside. DJing is not about you, it's about the audience. The worst DJs will play their favorite songs rather than those that the dance floor wants or needs to hear. Playlists are a journey with peaks and troughs. I learned early on that you will exhaust the dance floor if you only play the big bangers. You might be surprised to hear that I think sometimes wedding DJs are more talented at reading a dance floor than the big stadium DJs. Accurate mixing is great, but technology means that perfect beat matching is the norm nowadays. But sound journeys, sound frequencies and sound transitions are much more important than the song choice and the basic mix. Choosing the right device. Although you may have no control over the sound system in the studios where you teach, you can have an influence over the final sound quality through your choice of playback device. Check out the quality of the sound card on your device to ensure the best possible playback quality. Sound card quality can vary enormously from device to device. I would always recommend using a laptop or tablet rather than a phone. Phones are also problematic in another way. If they are not set to airplane mode at the start of a class, music might be temporarily muted when a call or text message is received. Very unprofessional. Music file care. If you are buying your music files from platforms like Beatport or Amazon Music, you need to look after your files to prevent generational loss from occurring. The more copies you make of a track, i.e. the different ways in which you might save it down, the worse quality it can become. Be careful when you save as to ensure you retain the correct file type and bit rate. Sending music over the internet to yourself or others can also cause generational loss. Send music by WeTransfer wherever possible. time stretching and track adjustments. Using software to time stretch your tracks can deliver some interesting improvements to your playlist. Be aware, however, that it will almost always reduce the quality of the sound. The longer the stretch, the greater the degeneration. Once again, be careful when you save as to ensure you retain the correct file type and bitrate. Sourcing music. For maximum flexibility, I would recommend buying and downloading tracks from platforms such as Amazon, iTunes, and Beatport. There are others. Beatport, for example, is great for recommending similar music and other artists and genres that will complement your choices. Do not use streaming platforms such as YouTube and SoundCloud, as the sound quality is often compromised. Platforms designed for personal consumption, such as Spotify and Apple Music, also shouldn't be used. Their terms and conditions explicitly forbid public use. Nowadays, the responsibility for PRS and PPL licensing sits with the venue owner. This is fine for fitness industry gyms and studios. However, if you are teaching in a church hall or other non-fitness venue, check with the owners and ensure that they have music licensing. Some gym chains will charge you for a portion of the music licensing. If you're making fitness videos to music, this is known as sync. Sync licenses are typically arranged on a track-by-track basis, which makes commercial music use very expensive for an instructor. I would recommend that you use rights-included music suppliers for all video production, ensuring you are covered in all territories in perpetuity. Selecting music. The best DJs don't just simply play the top 10 dance tracks in the world when they play out each weekend. They take the dance floor on a musical journey. Use class arrival and departure music to represent drama and expectation, with minimal lyrics, as this is when you'll be doing the most amount of talking. Warm-up, cool-down and mobility should be chosen to match the desired intensity. For example, don't go too hard too quickly. This is a mistake many starting DJs tend to make too. Make sure your high-intensity sections of programming are matched with higher intensity music. In a perfect world, have rest-by-active contrast by choosing different music for the work intervals versus the recovery intervals. Do not let the music go too flat in the recoveries. Silence or slow music will inhibit the next interval. 3 ways to use music in fitness. Asynchronous, the most widely used style in group exercise. Music is purely a background element with programming and music intensity not aligned in any way. Examples of this would include programs like HIIT, yoga, Pilates, and technical combat. Synchronous. This is matching the beat of the music to the tempo of the movement. Typically, the start of musical bars and phrases are used to cue increases in intensity, options, or new moves. This includes verse-chorus choreography, where the 2 differing sections of the music relate to 2 different combinations of exercises. Layered choreography is where new movements are added on throughout the course of the track. Examples of both of these would include programs like Les Mills Body Combat, Body Pump, aerobics, and Zumba. Semi-synchronous, or music differentiation. This is using the music structure to communicate the intensity of the work-respite ratios. Examples of this would include Tabata, Sprint 8, and Les Mills Grit. Studies show there is both a conscious and unconscious physical and psychological benefit when this semi-synchronous match between programming intensity and music occurs. So why is musical synchronization so important? When the body synchronizes with music, it is called rhythmic entrainment, and this occurs on a perceptual, motor, and social level. The basal ganglia plays a key role in the link between rhythmic entrainment and enjoyment, and positive social disposition. As most music is based on a metrical structure, music is thought to let different rhythms in the brain and the body resonate. And these internal rhythms come into alignment with the same patterns presented in the structure of the music. Rhythmic entrainment brings greater neuromuscular efficiency through greater auditory motor synchronization. The body loves rhythms. Remember, these benefits occur in off-the-beat workouts too. It leads to neuromuscular efficiency, greater enjoyment, remembered pleasure after the workout, power output, and achieves greater flow states. Curating a playlist journey using music differentiation. Music differentiation sounds complicated, but is highly likely to be something you are already doing. Have you ever cued the start of an interval on a musical drop? In science, this is known as providing an aural burst of energy. We all know that amazing moment when the interval matches the music. Suddenly, everyone feels it and works harder. Often the participants don't know what has happened. They just love it. Here is why we should make this happen every time. Taking a client on a musical journey where the work-rest periods are clearly differentiated by the music allows the programming to be further communicated to a level elevated higher than just your coaching. The participant hears the cues themselves and therefore are not solely reliant on the direction of you, the instructor. The self-determination theory in psychology suggests that this could be really beneficial in helping participants achieve a quicker degree of confidence, autonomy, and competence. This allows them to have more self-control and better effort management, leading to higher intensity of effort and greater self-managed endurance. It can also increase attention towards optimal performance and away from flow-breaking distractions like timers and the tendency to watch for the cues of the instructor. The self-determination that comes through your participants hearing your programming in the music leads to competence, confidence, lower rates of perceived exertion, autonomy, pleasure, and thus hedonism. Understanding BPM for your musical journey. BPM stands for beats per minute, and it is a number that represents the speed of a song. Common musical BPMs range from 75 all the way through to 175, and we have both a conscious and unconscious reaction to BPM, and it can act as your framework for the whole workout. Energy, intensity, and expectation can all be influenced by BPM. Warm-up speed should always be lower than your working blocks, with how much lower depending on the concept and the BPM of your first working block. Psychological studies have consistently shown that people will move faster to quicker music. Recent studies have also shown that faster music results in lower RPE than the slower equivalent. This doesn't mean that all of your music needs to be fast, but it does mean that you should be aware of the BPM so that you have matched it to the exercise. Even if your class is not to the beat, participants will subconsciously match or rhythmically entrain to the speed of the music. This is a key point. For example, fast food restaurants play faster music to encourage diners to vacate seating areas more quickly. People are of course not moving to the beat in this example. They are eating faster due to rhythmic entrainment. Download the free app BPM Counter if you are struggling to identify the BPM of a track. BPM is not the only determiner of music energy. Interesting beat patterns, or otherwise known as syncopation, can give the enhanced impression of momentum without increasing BPM. Varied sound frequencies can also support your programming. Bass, piano, and synths can all create contrast. Risers, those long synth sounds that sound like something is building, are in most EDM songs. They are great for cueing exercise intensity and a crescendo towards the end of a work interval. Lyrics. Motivational lyrics in songs can have a massive impact when you get them right. But words can polarize opinion at the same time. If you use them, make sure you take care to pick ones that send the exact message you want to communicate. Motivational messages in music are known as iconic cues and can really create an atmospheric emotional moment, Just don't overuse them. Ambient music. Ambient music is great for creating a mood at the beginning and end of your workout. It typically has no vocals, so you can be really clear on the mic with your pre-class checks. Musical interaction. The overall power and influence of music in group fitness is further enhanced by the instructor interacting with the music. You could, for example, reference the name of the track, reference motivational sections of the lyrics, or even sing parts of the work. Acknowledge big changes in the music, or great individual sections like drum patterns, riffs, or bass. They can all act as a cueing tool, which is very powerful when they match a work interlude. So cue and celebrate those drops. You could also talk about why you picked the song, or the musical theme of your playlist overall. Interacting with the music will encourage your members to bond with each other and interact with you. It's a win-win. Mic management. Taking care with mic setup is vital so that you can clearly communicate, motivate, and coach the participants. A mic shield and belt is critical to the member experience as it protects the equipment from damage. It is also very important for hygiene reasons too, given that mics are used by different instructors throughout the day. Always bring your own pack of mic shields and never use a second-hand one. Wear your own belt pack rather than exposing the mic system to your wet clothes. Test the mic and music balance before the class to ensure that you can be heard just over the music. Avoid constantly adjusting and holding the microphone with your hand. Get the position right at the start of the class, with the best position is 1 inch away from your face with the mic horizontal to the top of your lip. Vocal clash. If you know you will need to speak a lot in a section of the class, such as the warm-up or the cool-down, if you want to be clearly heard, then do not choose a lyric-heavy track for this part. The Wernicke-Broca network is a chain of neurons in the brain that processes the meaning of words. We can only listen to one voice at a time, so it's either you or the singer of the song. Better that it is you, so use an instrumental song in those key areas at the start and end of the class. What's the latest science around HIIT? First, the use of music throughout HIIT is likely to elevate state motivation and power output. Second, the use of fast tempo music throughout HIIT can elevate post-task enjoyment and remembered pleasure. Third, to balance the negative exercise-related effect that is induced by HIIT, the use of medium tempo music during active recovery should be considered, but for a duration of 75 to 90 seconds to give sufficient time for rhythmic entrainment to take place. Finally, slow tempo or no music should be avoided during HIIT recovery periods, as it's likely to reduce effective arousal and also compromise subsequent efforts in the HIIT protocol. Rest by active musical mixes, also known as music differentiation, are where the music has been prepared so that the intensity of the music matches the intensity of the programming. Typically, the music is prepared so that it perfectly matches the time protocols of the workout. Rest by active musical mixes have a positive effect on enjoyment, adherence, power output, and remembered pleasure. Overcoming the Sprint 8 exercise paradox. Sprint 8 and any interval workout is more effective if the user completes the full interval at full power. The exercise paradox is where the participants slow down the moment they see indication that there might be a visual or verbal cue coming from the instructor. Musical cues are more effective in overcoming the exercise paradox than verbal or visual cues. This is possibly because of the effect of unconscious rhythmic entrainment, where systems in the body lock on to the musical structures and rhythms. Even non-musical people unconsciously understand the fundamental structures within music, partly due to simple lifetime exposure. The self-determination theory suggests that participants will benefit from managing their own effort levels using the music cues, as opposed to them being submissively conditioned to follow a visual or verbal countdown. The peak end theory. The most remembered part of any experience is the highest intensity point and the finale, and music can be used to enhance the emotional experience at these key points. Music and lyrics need to be minimized at the end of the workout, thus ensuring that the atmosphere is maintained, but while you as an instructor can still get your goodbye message across in a memorable way. Music is also a great way of reducing nerves at the start of a workout.
It's the music! Music makes me move. What does it do for you? Does it make you feel good?
You have been watching the Matrix Cycle Music Workshop. My name's been Anthony Stewart. I just really want to thank you for listening. Drop me a line at the email below with any questions about music or psychology. Speak soon.